The 5th of June 2020 for Sunita Williams goes inside the space station. Sunita Williams, an Indian astronaut, went for a space mission for 8 days, but got stuck for 9 months. Did Elon Musk's SpaceX company save Sunita Williams from this? Did NASA send its astronauts out of a failed spacecraft? What problems did Sunita Williams face by staying in space for so long? How can so many astronauts live inside a space station at once? Will India ever be able to send its astronauts into space? You will know everything in today's video. Dragon Freedom has been successfully. Happy smiles on the other side. Sunny Williams in India. ISRO's budget is 50 cents to $1 billion, which we give for space exploration and experimentation. In the US, NASA's budget is $25 billion, but still, why did such problems arise? America, as its own to private space stations agencies are Elon Musk's SpaceX and Boeing. Boeing is a company which you might know also makes commercial planes. What happened that even after so much money, so many companies and so much technology, the astronauts who went to space were stuck for 9 months? To understand all this, you will have to know some things about the International Space Station. In 1984, US President Ronald Reagan had planned to build the ISS International Space Station. This station was not designed by the US, but by NASA of the US, Russia's Roscosmos, Europe's CSA, Japan's JXA and Canada's CSA, so that all these people could go internationally and do exploration. Its main purpose was to stay there and do test runs, do research. In simple language, instead of work from home, work from space was happening. Now what used to happen was that every few months a rocket used to go to the International Space Station. It used to take astronauts to stations and bring back goods or someone. Usually, all the space missions were a variable time span. Some went for 10 days, some for 6 months, some for 9 months. For one such mission, Sunita Williams and Bach Vammer both went to space, and for the first time NASA used a Boeing spacecraft. Its name was Starliner, and this Starliner is an orbital spacecraft, being the second private company to send an orbital spacecraft to space. By the way, the first company was SpaceX. It is going to send its orbital spacecraft to India. Its name is Gaganyaan, and it will be sent in December. Now basically, both Sunita Williams and Bach Vammer are going in their orbital spacecraft, and they have no idea what is going to happen to them now. Liner will launch into space aboard an Atlas V rocket. What is this orbital spacecraft? Let me tell you, other aircrafts are suborbital. Their job is to just go into space and then come back. But even a name like orbital means that it keeps revolving around the Earth. Now what happens is that the orbital spacecraft has to move very fast. When it goes at a speed of 28,000 kilometers per hour, only then it can revolve around the Earth. The suborbital works only at a speed of 7,000 kilometers per hour. So it is very difficult for an engineer to make a spacecraft that can touch such a speed. And sending a human into space is a very difficult task. So this was Boeing's first orbital spacecraft in which Sunita Williams and Bach Wilmore were being sent. Now the problem in this is that in 2019, Boeing had done the same mission with puppets, that is, with fake humans, those puppets. Its name was Rosie the Rocket Air. It was an 8-day space mission, which failed in 2 days because their spacecraft could not dock with the International Space Station. When the docking-walking vibe comes, I get the scenes from the movie Interstellar. Those who do not know about docking, these are basically attached to the International Space Station. But it is basically like a parking in space is an example of this. You have also seen, in the industry, that how difficult it is to connect to machines point to point in space at such a speed is a very difficult task, and if it fails, then the space station can also be damaged, and the aircraft that is going can also be damaged at the end. Of course, the people sitting in it will also be injured. This Boeing test failed because there was a problem in its thrusters. Thrusters are the most important part of a spacecraft. This is what makes it difficult. Let's send it forward. This test was done again in 2022, and this time this aircraft reached the International Space Station. But brother, Boeing's history has been very bad in terms of crashes. This morning, Boeing 737 MAX 8 was killed in a second accident. China Eastern 737 has crashed with Ethiopian Airlines. Flight has crashed. The Boeing 737 MAX was heading to the Kenyan capital Nairobi. In 2018, Indonesia's Lion Air, and in 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 737 also crashed. Both these crashes happened, and many people had to lose their lives. Now an old mission has already failed, and this is Boeing's first orbital aircraft in which actual humans are going. Before this, humans had not even gone inside it. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are going inside space, basically NASA and Boeing S star.